Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and I am here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, presumably by a guy Lao Tzu, and it is filled with all sorts of enigmatic wisdom and advice on how we can live a more reasonable life. Living a reasonable life is something that I describe as being living a life in which we're not asking other things to change for us. We were talking yesterday to Wandering Fool just about how other things can come in and influence us very, very deeply. So the Tao wants us to be able to live in a way that is reasonable, in a way that it's, like right now it's raining outside. I don't want it to not rain outside. I'm good with it raining. I'm good with trying to be good with other people doing what they do. Sometimes that's difficult. Sometimes people do things that offend us. Sometimes people do things that that we can't imagine why they would be doing that. It happens so much that there was a time in the United States where there's a show hosted by this guy, Jerry Springer. And there was this culture of judging others and telling other people they were bad people. And I feel like that sort of mentality and that sort of way of treating others, it's telling other people that I can tell you when you're doing something wrong. I can tell you, I can judge you, and it's okay for me to judge you. Having that culture really gets far afield from what Tao is talking about. And it's possible that when we start to agree with the idea that it's okay for others to judge each other because your lifestyle is so sick, your lifestyle is so bad, your lifestyle is one thing and I'm another, and you're evil, and othering other people and calling them evil or dismissing them as being crazy, you really lose touch with empathy. You lose touch with the idea that they're human. You lose touch with the idea that they have a life and it's not mine. And so the Tao really kind of helps us realign that. And I believe that if we do love each other and we don't judge each other and we allow people to be who they are. Now, there are people who are going to be predators, and there are people who are going to, maybe inadvertently, maybe very, very much vertently, right? Very much purposefully hurt others. But I do believe that there's paths that when those people can love, they won't do that. There'll be awareness in their lives. Sophia.
I'm still on.
Sophia, how are you?
Hi.
So have you heard this show before? Or is this your first time? Okay, Sophia dropped. So yeah, it's as we talk about the Tao Te Ching, as we talk about this idea of living a reasonable life, right? Everybody's going to be living the life that they live, right? Sophia's out there having a good time and doing what she's doing. And I'm here doing what I do. And we're all living on the same planet, doing the same, living and having the experience that we're having. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a random number for today's Tao of the day. And if anybody wants to pick me, or if anybody wants to pick a number, definitely come up and you can pick a number. I can pick a random one for you. So the verse that I picked, we're Julie's gonna come up. That's great.
Hello.
Hey, Julie, how are you, dear?
Right, I'm going to have to run into the house and plug myself in, but while I'm doing that, I'd like to pick number 18, please.
18, Out of Touch with Tao.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, we read this one yesterday with Wandering Fool.
Nice.
And I like this one because it's, it touches on the different levels of what life is as we're out of touch with Tao. And what it says, and it's really short, so we'll get to go through it quite a bit. When out of touch with Tao, etiquette is observed. When etiquette cannot be abided, we find excuses to make it proper. When excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy. When all the neighbors are in chaos, blind loyalty is demanded.
I love this one.
What stands out?
Because for me, it's it's the part about the etiquette. So we go to one thing when we can't fathom or work with what we've got, we go to the next, the rules. What do the rules say? How am I supposed to be?
Right.
And I like that very much because I think we all, including myself, tend to lean on that. And when those rules are not there, I'm just plugging myself in.
Yeah, please do.
Then
let's take a pause. Let's take a pause and just refocus. Let's just refocus. Sometimes it's like when you're doing one thing and then you're doing two things. You got me?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
We're all plugged in.
All right, wonderful.
So yeah, when etiquette isn't there for me, when I'm, working my way through just being, then I start to get a little bit panicky actually. And I said, what am I supposed to do? That sentence of abiding by etiquette for me starts to become a struggle. I start to concern myself with what the right steps are. So that's where I'll leave it for you to talk to me.
This is the first. See, we don't know a time before etiquette. We were born. We were taught etiquette. We were taught what the right thing is. No, that's not nice. And you probably more than most because you were in an orphanage.
Yeah.
So you didn't even have the privacy of even a little bit of alone time. So etiquette drove you 24/7.
Yes.
You had to exist in a space in which etiquette had to be observed because there was a hierarchy outside of your peers that they could go to, that they could complain to, that you had to live under the rules of. Yes, we have parents and siblings and things like that, but there are times where you and I as siblings can agree not to go to the authorities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you never know in your situation who would crumble.
That's right.
Who would tell. And so you were not only living under etiquette, you were living under the pressure of not knowing who you could trust. Because even the people that you could trust, you couldn't trust completely.
Yeah, they were strangers.
Mm-hmm.
I lived with strangers from day dot. So, I went into this orphanage when I was 6 months old.
Yeah.
And I left when I was 7. And there's a rhyme that goes
7
with
years
that.
old.
Show me the boy at 7 and I'll show you the man.
Yeah.
Because 7 years is quite a cyclic time in our lives. Every 7 years is you know.
That was your entire understanding of survival.
Yeah.
And I would look at that right now in your life and be like, wow, you've returned to living with strangers.
It's great. I love it.
well, this is, and I have to say, like, this is, although when you were in the orphanage, like, that was a scary sort of, well, it wasn't scary because that was normal.
Yes.
Right? So you didn't define it the way others defined it. You defined it for yourself.
When I was younger, when I was in this children's home, I remember not speaking, not talking or conversing, but being very observant.
Right.
Very observant about everything. It's quite an amazing thing. But that skill has really helped me later. You know, every step that every experience that I've had has built who I am now. Right. And I still have a problem now, where if etiquette cannot be abided, I get a bit panicky.
Right, because that's the entire structure that you were living in.
Yeah.
Like if you couldn't believe in that, then you were in danger.
Yeah.
You know, and so when etiquette cannot be abided, we find excuses to make it proper, and that's when things start to fall apart for you. When other people say, well, it's okay because. It's okay that I didn't do that because.
Yes.
You know, it's okay that I'm not being nice to you because. It's okay that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, quote unquote, because. And because the excuses can mean anything. And they're just made up. Just like etiquette is made up. Yeah. The excuses that we use to make it okay are made up. And it's like, if you got beat up by an older person when you were in the children's home, and they made an excuse why it was okay, you had no recourse.
I used to get beaten up by a little toddler when I was 5. And I would complain about it, you know. I'd go to the authorities, you know, the people that ran home, and they'd say, oh, don't be so silly, he's only little. I'm like, not happy with that excuse.
So find excuses to make it proper. It's okay that he's doing that. He's little. And then when excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy. So excuses have already, like, the hierarchy has agreed that an excuse is okay for you to get beat up. And now we're in chaos, and you have to turn to them, and they're the ones that put you in that danger in the first place.
Yeah. So from that, see, Martin, John, just that little tinkling away the thoughts. When I come across a conflict now, if somebody is very angry with me or they shout at me, I revert back to that little girl of 5.
Yeah.
You know, and the feeling is so strong. And it makes me feel weak and chaotic. I don't know what to do. So it's quite interesting, isn't it? That these riddles in the Tao can be so helpful to help you discover things that you still, even if you think you've got it all planned out and everything in your life you're really able to handle, these little things that come up, and you can address them. And you can say, I'm not a little girl anymore. And I'm actually not going to accept excuses. That's not for me anymore. I can choose not to be in that experience. I can choose another experience if I want to. Another way of feeling about it.
And, you know, so much of this is layers, right? And, you know, we currently found a place in your life where, like, excuses gut the family, chaos favors the hierarchy, where in your life chaos favors the hierarchy. We also, that must mean, as we just focus on number 18 here, that there is a deep, and we've already expressed that there is a deep respect for etiquette in your experience. And that doesn't mean it's as deep as it's always been. It could be fairly shallow today for how deep your relationship has been to etiquette in your life, but it's still present.
Yes.
And what's interesting is if we could just utilize these two things as abstracts, we may not know, we may not have experienced ever being totally in touch with Tao. Mm-hmm. You know, we are in touch with Tao somewhere. However, it's kind of like the princess and the pea. Here's this Tao, and it's buried beneath all of these mattresses of etiquette. And mattresses and just stuff. And if we're sensitive enough, and if we're aware enough to the
presence,
to the presence of the pea, then we can be still and say, okay, beneath all of this is Tao. And even though I'm sitting on top of 15 mattresses, I can still experience Tao.
Yeah.
And those mattresses being the etiquette.
I like the mattressing, considering we've been in the van last week with our deflating mattress. That's reminding me of Tao.
Right? And it's like, yes, beneath all of this, like beneath these layers of etiquette and these layers of story that I have been telling in my life of my importance or how the world is supposed to be toward me or whatever it is, I can still feel Tao in my life. You know, and that's a big deal.
It is. Thank goodness for that. I'm glad I'm sensitive. I am enjoying learning fresh and not knowing every single day. And I love all of the interactions I have, the experiences I have, because in it all, I can feel the essence of me. Not the physicality, not the things I want to do, not the things I want to say, none of that, just that essence of being alive in this experience. And that's the P for me.
Yeah.
And
there's like underneath all of that external, physical stuff, you are there.
Yeah.
You know, where are you headed next?
We are off to do 2 separate sits next. So we're both in the same town. We're going to head towards Exeter next.
Okay.
That's on the 5th. And Brad is looking after 2 cats that we've looked after before. And I'm looking after a little Dachshund dog, which is brand new to me, in another house. We're going to be separate. Are we going to be able to cope? Well, Brad.
Well, that'll be. See, that's so good. Like, one, you guys are teaming up and spreading out and doing your love, and you're going to be in the same town. So, Exeter is not a small town, though.
No. 23
so are you
minutes
guys
walking.
What's that?
Between us, 23 minutes walking between us. So I'll make sure I've got my phone in my pocket and in my vibes.
Well, a 23-minute walk is, like, and if you can walk the Dachshund over that way. The Dachshund's a small dog, though. Like, they have small legs, so they may not be able to do a 20-minute walk. You dropped off, Mike. Come back up if you can. Yeah, that'll be fun.
It will be, except for one thing. There is etiquette in this. The lovely Dachshund has recently had spine surgery.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So the walks are going to be small.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to really rely on Brad coming and visiting me, but we're going to pick up our bikes to make that a little bit easier for him.
Oh, that'll be nice, yeah.
So,
and where are the bikes now?
They are in a lockup in Liskeard.
Oh man, you just spread like all the world is your home, sweetheart.
It is, and we're loving it. It's so good, and the people that we're meeting, they're a cacophony of explorations in themselves. They're all souls experiencing the world the way that they do, and I'm kind of glad that we've fallen into this, and somewhere in that little P is integrity.
Yeah.
And it seems to be shining quite brightly for us, and that I am glad for.
Yeah, I'm so glad. It's special. It's special. You guys follow life and allow it to blossom, and that's beautiful.
And just a quick.
And when does that start? When do those start?
So that's on the 5th of April. So a couple of days.
And so you're in the van until then?
No, we are in this beautiful place here on the coast of Cornwall.
Oh, nice.
Caring for a ginger cat who is awesome. Nice. And walking a little Dachshund called Daphne every morning. So that's our introduction to this dog. We've got a little preview walkies that I've been doing with this dog on the premises. It's, the mum lives in a separate house, so I walk her dog for her.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
Oh, well, I'm
just
glad
a quick
you guys
note before I fly. Man United 0, Nottingham Forest 1.
Was that the other day, right? Was that the FA Cup?
No, the FA Cup, they were very, very lucky because it's 0-0 all the way through. They got through the extra half, still 0-0, went down to penalties, and I think it was Brighton. Brighton missed one penalty, and we managed to
make it right at the end.
But yeah, the last kick of the match was a penalty, and we got it. Yay.
Nice. Oh, go on. Get in.
Get in, I say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's there. I have to just kind of chime in. There is there's nothing to be proud of for beating Man U anymore.
I know.
It's been a decade since they've been who they. Like I look at the world these days. And Man U was. So I've been talking recently. We're gonna talk a little bit about the world now.
Okay, good, because I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I've been looking at this. Excuse me. I've been looking at the world from this aspect of, if you, Julie, wanted a destination, that destination might be a certain business, a certain club like Man U, or a certain be part of a certain school, be part of a certain group.
Yeah.
Right. You're part of a certain group, and that group has a certain level of respect in the world.
Yeah.
Now, if you want respect in the world, you could be accepted to that group. And I've talked about this, like Harvard University. Oh, I'm going to Harvard, or I'm going to Yale, or I'm going to Cambridge.
I just lie. I just tell people I've been to Harvard. Come on.
But if you wanted to receive respect, you might want to be part of a group that gets respect. Now, there are two kinds of people that can go into that. People that really, really do respect the organization. And then there are people who respect that the organization receives, and they want that.
Yeah.
They don't want to contribute to the greatness of the organization. They want to, what I've been saying, rape the organization for what it can give them.
That's right. It's like putting their coat on, wearing their clothes. Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of what I think has happened to Man U. And I think that happened once Sir Alex left. And I don't blame like every manager, because I think David Moyes really tried, but he's softer. And so that wasn't going to work out. And you are going to go through a transition time because identity, and Sir Alex was such an identity of Man United. And but Sir Alex believed in the mission of Man United, not himself. I think he was arrogant, but I don't feel like, and there's so many places in the world today where it's like, oh, I want the position, but I don't want to. I can't, or I don't have the ability to contribute because I don't believe in myself enough to contribute what I am to this organization, whether it is government, whether it is a club, whether it is a group, whether it is an educational institution. It's so many things out there. There's so many opportunities for us to contribute to what we are a part of.
Yeah.
And I think that too many people want to just take for themselves.
I'd agree with that. I think, the problem with it really for me when I look at that is Man United, obviously they had a history and a story to tell, and they were kind of held in a space for quite a long time because of that story, because people wanted to support them, give them kindness and help them get to the top where people believed they should be. And over time, that story is kind of really dropped down with age and time.
Well, the Glazers just went in and wanted to take it for what they were worth. They don't care. And this is about some of the players because shit rolls downhill.
Yeah.
So the Glazers go in and say, I'm going to take everything I can for myself.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the history. I don't care about the sport. I don't care about, and when individuals then when they go out and find players, well, the players don't see the hierarchy of the club caring about the club. So then it's just let me just get what I can get.
Yeah, exactly that. I agree with you. So there you go, Man United.
Yeah, they should they are, and that's one of the things that I really like about following Hull City is that there's nothing to be proud of by being on the team of Hull City. But if you find pride in being a Tiger,
you have a passion,
right?
I think. Yeah.
Then you are ready to contribute what you can to the club. You're ready to contribute something to the club.
Yeah.
And that's the fear that, and that's like a January transfer window conversation and other things like that. It's like, that's the fear. It's like when the team does good, well, are you only here to do well so that you can get a better position somewhere else? Because I don't want you here.
Are we a step on your journey, or are we your destination?
Right. Like I look at players like Andy Robertson and others and who have done well after leaving Hull, and I'm like, they didn't come to Hull to get to where they are.
No.
They came to Hull and got to where they are.
Yeah.
You know, because they understood, they had to learn the lesson, not just study for the test.
That's right. Yeah. They lived it. They implemented their lessons, you know, and helped them. I just want to quickly, before I disappear, say thank you, America, for giving us Sells, our goalie. He is awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, sweetie. Have a great one. Oh, for those of you who don't care about soccer, sorry about that. But we're looking at it from a broader perspective. We're trying to look at it from a perspective of how the world is right now and how we see things. And and it's really great for us as individuals to ask ourselves, well, what are we doing? What is it we're doing to contribute to the groups that we're a part of? Or what is it that we're doing to be true to ourselves? You know, when we get into that question of, am I doing this because of etiquette, or am I doing this because this is me? Like, that's something that we can really experience, because when I'm doing it because of etiquette, I lose touch. You know, when I'm doing it because of etiquette, I don't always. I'm doing it because of a destination. I'm bringing a host gift, because that's what I'm supposed to bring when I visit someone for a dinner party or whatever. That's what I'm supposed to do. But if I can not only lean on etiquette, then I can trust myself. You know, I don't always have a reason for why I do what I do. I don't always have a reason for why what happens. I remember one time, this happened the other day. The night before, I turned off something on my phone and put it on airplane mode. Well, it turned out it was on airplane mode for over 12 hours. You know, I woke up and I didn't even check it. Just happened to be on airplane mode. And it was perfect, because I went through my day and I woke up and I was a little overwhelmed. I had a bunch of stuff to do, and I did it. And then all of a sudden, I look at my phone and I try and send a text message, and it's like, oh, you can't send on airplane mode. And I was like, oh, my phone has been on airplane mode. And I took it off airplane mode, and I got a bunch of texts and stuff that I got through the day. And I was just like, I just dealt with that. Like, whatever, no big deal. But it's like, we do things and we don't know why. We don't know why it's happening. And we don't have to go out of our way to do the right thing. We can allow things to be. We don't have to know why that's happening. We don't have to know why I feel the way I feel. I don't have to know why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. I remember one time, this whole airplane mode thing came up with a couple years ago. I was seeing somebody, and they traveled home, and I had put my phone on airplane mode to test the Wi-Fi of the place that I was at, because I had to deal with the fact that it was going in and out. And I needed my phone to not be on. I needed to test the Wi-Fi specifically, and so I had to take it off airplane mode. I had to put it on airplane mode. And then the person I was dating, I was like, they should have landed by now, because they were flying home. I was like, I didn't get a message, and I just let it go. And then eventually I was just kind of like, all right, well, I better reach out. And I realized that my phone was on airplane mode. I took it off airplane mode, and all these texts came in. And I was in such trouble, just because like I wasn't there, and like they were scared and they didn't know what was going on with me and all of this stuff. And I was just like, oh, there was this thing, and I wasn't paying attention because of this and that and whatever, and yes, I got in trouble. However, that was a great experience for that relationship to ultimately end, but it was a great experience for both of us to learn, because we both learned about like what was acceptable and what wasn't, and all of these sorts of things, and what we wanted out of whatever was happening, and I didn't have to do anything. It's interesting when we kind of look at those things and we say, oh, I did the wrong thing, I forgot something, I'm in trouble, ... And then it's like, oh, wait, is that how I experience the world? Because I'm innocent. Like I did this from a state of being innocent. Like I didn't try to avoid something, but someone feels like I am, and I get to look at all that. And then I get to experience my experience of that. I don't have to put it on them. I don't have to say they're making me do this. So if anybody has a number you want to select, we can kind of look at that. I'm going to look at number 63 today. That was the random number that I picked before Julie came up. And it's one of, I really like this verse because I really like some of the phrasing in it. And really it's the last line, which says, the master knows that all of life is not without its problems, so problems turn out to be no problem at all. The idea that, and I'm going to read the whole thing, but I wanted to start there. The idea that how would you imagine life without any problems? You have a body. We live on a planet. There are other people around. Problems, quote unquote, it's just part of the territory. It's just part and parcel to what we're experiencing. The fact that we communicate with words, the fact that we have bodies at all, the fact that we, the problems are just going to be part of it. So, the other day, I don't know if I talked about this too much. I may have. The other day, I broke a key to my truck in the door of my car. Not in the lock, but inside the body of the door, because I was trying to pry something out of the door frame. And it broke the key inside the door. And I was like, whoa, and it turned out like I wasn't home, so I couldn't get my key and my spare key and stuff. I had to call someone, but within an hour, I had another key in my hand that started the car, and everything was good. And it hardly made me bat an eye, because it's okay. No matter what has to happen, even if I were to have had to call a locksmith, I had my phone on me. So, and I remember there were times when things like that have happened to me before I had a cell phone, and everything worked out okay. I mean, I may have been a lot more dramatic about it all. And, and that's what changes my experience. It's like when a problem arises and I lean into that problem rather than leaning into the fact that it's going to be okay, and I'm going to figure this out, and the problem will settle. The idea that this is the only thing that matters, like being present with that and believing that the future is going to be solely affected by this moment. So it says here, be still and you will act without doing. Be still and your work will happen regularly. Be still and your senses will engage the subtle. Similarly, engage a stranger as the multitude. See the majesty of a mountain in a grain of sand. The master knows greatness cannot be grasped. Remaining still, she allows greatness to flow through her. With no desire to achieve it, her stillness guides her. Making subtle movements, the difficult seems easy. She knows that life is not without its problems, so problems turn out to be no problem at all. That's making subtle movements, the difficult seems easy. So I'm going to go through the experience I had of having my key break off in the door. And I'm going to see how this relates, right? Making subtle movements, the difficult seems easy. So first, it broke off. my eyes widened and I was like, ugh. I was like, okay, that just happened. And then my mind went to, I know I have a key at my house, but I don't know if that key is going to start my car because I've never started my car, and I don't know if there's a chip inside of the key that will, connect, that will connect with the car and tell it, but yes, this is the key kind of thing. Like, so sometimes you have to have keys programmed. So I stuck it in and broke it. And I was just like, okay, I don't know if that's going to do it. I might have to call a locksmith. This could be, this could be an issue. And I said, well, I'm at work. I could find somebody to give me a ride home to get the key and come back once my shift is done, whatever. And I just chuckled. And I was like, okay, well, is there anything in my car that I need access to? Because if there is, I'm going to need to leave the door open. If there isn't, I can close it. I was like, I got my phone. I got my key. I got everything that I need. Lock the door, close it, and head inside. I saw, and as I'm doing that, I'm thinking, maybe I can call my neighbor. So I tried to call my neighbor, and it went to, a recorded message that said, you can't make a call at this time. And I was like, I don't understand that at all. And these are subtle movements. So I'm making these subtle movements. Like, I try to call my neighbor, and I think about I can ask people to give me a ride. So I'm solving the problem, and I'm trying to just be calm. Yes, my mind is kind of moving rapidly around, trying to solve the problem, but I'm not stressing out. I'm actually chuckling a little bit, and I go up and I see the person that I'm going to be working with for the night. And I'm just like, hey, Aaron, how you doing? Brr, 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 whatever. And she was like, how are you? And I was like, funny thing. I just broke my key off in my car. And she was like, oh my God. And I'm just like, yeah. And I was like, well, I know this person's going to come in today and they can give me a ride home and stuff. And she was like, I drive too. And I was just like, yeah, but you're not going to want to drive me back and forth kind of thing, because you're going to have to get home to your kid. And I don't need your help specifically and whatever. And so that's, again, this idea of subtle movements. One, I'm not really super stressed out, which I'm grateful for. I know there was a time in my life where I may have been very stressed out and very, this always happens to me, that kind of a thing. But here I am. I'm not stranded, because worst case scenario, I can even walk home. It would take a while, but I could do that. It's not unheard of for me to be able to do that. And ultimately, I called a friend of my neighbor, and he ended up bringing the key to me. Paula, how are you doing?
Good morning. I love it.
Good morning.
It's so inspirational. And
wonderful.
Yeah, it's awesome. I try to make sure I'm up early enough to hear it. It's awesome. Listen, I just wanted to tell you, when you said that, I immediately connected, because I thought of be still and know that I am God from Proverbs. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I said, boy, is this right on, because we don't have problems. We have challenges. And, it's how you look at it. My mom and dad always told me, where there's a will, there's a way. There's an answer. It may not be the answer you want. It may not be the answer.
That's right. You
that
expect?
right, expect or agree with. But God has a way of talking to us and working with us and solving things that quote problems that aren't really problems.
That's right. And we're the ones that really, and this is like this last line. She knows that all of life is not without its problems. So problems turn out to be no problem at all. It's just how you frame it.
Right, exactly.
It's simply how you frame it. And if you know that God is here teaching you lessons and God is here presenting you with challenges and doing all of these things because these are the challenges and lessons that you need to complete your journey.
Exactly.
Then you relish in the next challenge.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You say, this is me literally communing with God.
Right. And if it doesn't take you out, it's going to advance you. And you're going to have to learn the lesson one way or the other.
That's right. Like you can't, I talk about this thing that I call like pre-karmic buffet. And it's like, like before you enter your body, your soul, you and God go to a buffet and God says, get anything you want. And as you're scooping all this delicious, because you've never experienced a buffet before, you don't know. One of the problems with buffets is it's all you can eat. And as you spoon all these things, there's labels on there, but you don't know what those labels mean because you've never experienced this before.
Exactly.
And then you sit down at your plate and God looks at it and says, oh, this is your experience. This is what you're going to find delicious.
Right.
And the way that you can find that, the best way I can serve you as God is to send you to where you can experience all of the deliciousness that you have selected. And some of that deliciousness is going to be anger, racism, global warming. And depending on how you laid out your plate, you're going to have a different experience.
Absolutely.
And it is important, and this is a story that I tell a lot, which is it's important that when we're in life, we find what is delicious about this.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of experiences in life that we're going to experience that are going to be bitter, and they're going to be sour, and you're going to have all of these sorts of different tastes. But we all know that as we mature, different tastes, we can find the deliciousness in a lot of different tasting things. It doesn't always have to be, pizza and sugar.
Right.
Eventually, our taste buds and our experience for this experience is going to be deeper. So we can find that deliciousness in this experience. And this is when we're talking about this idea of problems, it's like, can you find the deliciousness in this experience and how you're being supported?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And not be afraid to be open. I think that's one of the things that I'm really working on, because everything doesn't have to be A, B, or C. Sometimes you just got to let yourself go and enjoy like you said, enjoy the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have a number that we can explore together, or are you in a hurry? What's your plan?
Oh yeah, I have what you mean what number?
So we're looking at a book, the Tao Te Ching. And that has 81 chapters, and each chapter is short, like I'm reading here. And what I do is I ask you to pick a number, and then we go through that together.
Oh, okay. So any number?
Between 1 and 81.
Okay, let's go with 4.
4. So 4 is entitled The Void. Okay. And the void is emptiness, really just complete emptiness, no time, no space, no light, no anything. So Tao, and we can look at Tao sometimes in some verses, and Tao is a Chinese thing, so it's not your traditional God sort of thing, but we can look at it as God. God is the void. And the void is within everything.
Okay.
As it relates to what is perceptible, like you, me, walls, the earth, all of the things that we can perceive with our senses, everything is mostly void. Everything is mostly empty. Like in a cell, the space in a cell, like the empty space in a cell, is huge compared to what's actually in it, like the matter that's actually in it. It's mostly void. And that means it's mostly God.
Okay.
As the origin of everything, so if we're looking at God, God is the origin of everything. Emptiness, void, like even, in Genesis, we see that, before God created everything was void.
Right.
So as the origin of everything, it is hidden within every particular thing. So the emptiness, the void, God is hidden within every particular thing. The master is someone who knows God, who knows Tao. The master knows it is even the source of God.
Okay.
And yet others still go on searching. And the idea of that last line is like you said earlier, God is within you.
Yeah.
What is there to search for?
Right.
There is nothing outside of you. And that's what this says. Is there any, and I'm going to read it straight through one more time. Okay. And then if anything stands out to you, we can focus on that, or if anything inspires you, we can talk about that. Okay. So the void. Tao is the void, and the void is within everything. As it relates to what is perceptible, everything is mostly void. As the origin of everything, it is hidden within every particular thing. The master even knows it's the source of God, and yet others still go on searching.
I like that. I just want you to know also that I don't know a lot, and that's why I'm listening a lot, tuning into you, because I'm trying to learn about it. And I'll do my own research too.
Absolutely.
But thank you very much for understanding if I do ask a question that doesn't seem relevant or whatever.
Well, and it's so important that, because these are when we are raised in a specific culture, it's really hard to open up to other cultures, and usually that instills fear.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we deal with right now. In the United States, we're dealing with a lot of fear, and in the world, we're dealing with a lot of fear of other. And when we start to other each other, we separate the fact that you're God and I'm God. There is no other, right?
There's one God. Yeah.
There's right. And I like using, I like to remove that number, that one from that sentence. And a lot of times when we say there is only one God, I like to say there is only God.
Oh, okay. Yes, I get it.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
And so now there isn't anything but God.
Right. There's not like something, oh, well, my God's better than your God, and that God, that type.
Because when we throw that one in there, what we do is we separate God from us. There's only one God, because I can't be God then.
Right.
But when we remove that number one, there is only God. Now all of a sudden, when we read this, Tao is the void and the void is within everything. As it relates to what is perceptible, everything is mostly void, meaning what you perceive is mostly God and just happens to look a certain way or whatever. And the air around you is mostly God, but it looks and feels a certain way. The walls around you, it's mostly God, but for some reason it looks different than you do. But you don't have to know why. That's for God to know.
Right. There's only God.
That's it. There's only God. And then that's what this is really sort of talking about. It's as we look at the void, as we sort of become more aware of the void around us, as we become aware of the fact that everything is mostly this emptiness. Because when we get down to a cellular level, it is. And then we see that, well, then there is no separation between the wall and myself and this other person and this other, and there's no othering. There's no othering at all. There's no separation. It's like all I can do now is love you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Listen, how long have you been studying Tao?
I've been studying Tao since I was 19, 20, so that's 30 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you so much, because I've never really experienced it or, known much about it, but it aligns with my thinking so much that I thought, this is just God.
It is. And we use different phrases. Tao looks at it, like traditional Catholicism or Catholic sort of or Christian sort of things.
Christianity.
Right. Christianity, all of those, so many of, Judaism, Christianity, and all of the major sort of modern religions look at religion from a masculine aspect, right? So your God is often male.
Right.
Tao is the great mother, right? So Tao is seen from the aspect of the feminine, and this isn't a gender thing, because Tao doesn't have a gender, because Tao is beyond gender. It's not it's amazing that God has a gender to me, because I look at Tao and it's like, you're right. There is no opposite of Tao, right? Because Tao is the great mother, and so through it all things are birthed. And so those are some key differences. It's like there is no vengeance in Tao, and when we look at Old Testament stuff, we have vengeance, and then we have forgiveness, because that's what one needs, right? You need the opposites, right? But in Tao there are no opposites, right? And it is all, and just like there isn't only one God, there is only God.
Only God.
So, right. So like that's where the differences start to kind of really take shape. And it's just like, oh, wait, when I look at it, there is only God. Well, then there's nothing to compare to. There's nothing else. There's no need to create hell.
Exactly. Yeah, I get it. Listen, is Tao D-A-O?
It's T-A-O. It's pronounced Tao. You can pronounce it Tao, or you can pronounce it whatever you want. Like, it doesn't care. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I thought I was saying it wrong. That's why I wanted to.
No, absolutely. And it's just a stand-in for what it is. Just like God, although we put a lot of energy into the word God, it's just a word. God is so much more. You, although your name is Paula, that doesn't mean that you are encapsulated in that word.
Right.
It is just a word. You are energetically and spiritually like so much more than anything that you will do or anything that I can say about Paula.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will definitely be back. I love this. And I wanted to get your website, because I heard you mention that once.
So my website's martinjohn.com, but if you click on my face, you can go to my profile where you can find links. So you can, it's Martin John, MartinJohn.com. And from there you can, explore other things that I do. I can send you a link in your message here on Noom Vibe. And because this is what I do for everybody, I will send you the text of number 4 today, so that you can read through that later. And you can kind of mull it over and meditate on the void. Go ahead, Paula. What's up?
Thank you. I timed out, and I just wanted to thank you so much. And I definitely appreciate that, because I do want to know more. I am committing time to learning more at this point in my life, and I really appreciate your programming. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. I'm in Central Time. I'm right outside Chicago. And so I start at 6 a.m. Central Time, and I usually go for an hour unless there's no interaction and stuff. So you can find me regularly here at this time, Monday through Friday.
Okay, I will definitely check in. I'm in the Chicago area now, but I'll be headed back to Arizona. So that means you're on 2 hours.
I'm going to be 5. Well, if you're, if that's 4 a.m. for you, I think right now.
Yeah,
because Arizona doesn't fall back or spring ahead or anything.
No,
like
we don't. Arizona doesn't do anything.
Right? Yeah. So and we still do. So what brings you to Chicago?
Well, actually, my father passed in May, and I've been home helping my sister resolve, issues with our home and with her, and just getting back home to my roots a little bit.
So wait, you're a Chicago girl?
I'm originally from Gary, Indiana.
Oh, so I'm in Hammond now. I was born and raised in Chicago, and
Okay.
I'm currently in Hammond.
Wow, that's amazing. I live in Gary, Indiana. I went to Horace Mann High School.
Oh, wow.
Midwesterner, and moved out west for work. And I've been out there for 20 years now. But I really love the Midwest, and I love Chicago. I love Hammond, Gary. I'm
right off of Orchard Avenue, right around the corner from Black Oak. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My sister's still here, so I'm back and forth.
All right. Well, we'll touch base.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun.
You. And Tao to you, and thank you very much for the information. I love the programming again.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
Okay, have a fantastic day too.
You as well.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for Tao of the Day. This is Martin John, and I'll be back tomorrow. And if you guys find value in the stuff that I do, I really appreciate if you can, throw a little something my way. If you find value in Tao of the Day, these teachings bringing insight, clarity, or just a moment of peace in your day, I invite you to support me in my continuing this show. Noonbai was supporting the show for a while, but they no longer do. And so, just you finding it and being here means a lot to me. And I do rely on contributions so I can continue this work, and not have to look for other work. It's always good. You can support me directly through Buy Me a Coffee, and you can get that link on my Linktree or through my website. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And until next time, keep recovering. Oh, whoa. JK is going to join me right at the buzzer. That's great. Hey, JK, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
I am to I think probably one of my hopefully last trips for medical reasons up to New York.
Yeah.
I was on the plane.
Now, wait. Is she is she getting discharged today? No.
Yeah, today's discharge day.
Today's discharge day. Okay, and she's got that swollen ankle still. How is the ankle?
She's okay. She was walking yesterday. I think the interesting part of it all is that it forces her to walk on the leg that has the pain.
Right.
And so you can't really, there's no skirting that. So a lot of times you compensate when you're in that much pain. And she's unable to completely. So it was interesting, the fact that it worked out that way. But yep, today's discharge day, and we'll see how it goes.
That whole experience is really a great practice, and we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. Well, we're going to see. Whether it's the insurance or the ankle or the, or the time or it all really just sort of works itself out.
It sure does.
And that's something, like, and it's so good to just kind of surrender to it in a way and like step back and like observe.
Very much so. Well, I
Yeah.
was thinking, and I didn't know if I would get to where I was because the plane was a little delayed, and I didn't want to fall in the
Are you in
airport.
New York right now?
Yeah. I just got
Okay,
to the
you're already
car.
there. Oh, well.
Yeah. No, I was
I
fine
slept
this
well
morning.
last night, so.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I was up at 2:30.
Oh, man.
So I got to the rent-a-car right before you were, I was listening, but I couldn't come on when I could, but it's loud in the airport.
No. I'm glad you're here.
So I walked up and I got in my car and you were about to sign off and I was like, yeah, I'll just do what I normally do and see if
Yeah,
you
that's
catch me
right.
or
That's
not.
yeah.
You haven't missed me yet. You haven't dropped me yet. I'm shocked.
No.
But
Well,
yeah, so I came up because of the fact that, I think it was back in September or October timeframe that I called from this airport and it was her first pain medicine appointment. And this was a new doc and we didn't know what was going to happen. And now, we're here and she's actually walking. Like
yeah.
she doesn't have any crutches and it's not comfortable, but she's
No.
walking. Like, and that's amazing because I had no clue what was going to happen at that point. Like the rehab wasn't even on the table. So
I remember.
it's just really cool to come full circle here and just see, oh, wow. Like the we'll see, we're at the we'll see now. Like this is what we see.
Yeah.
So,
And
I don't
then,
know.
And the thing is like, this is already set new things into motion that you're going to have to we'll see about later.
Oh,
It's
of course.
like now that she can walk or like all of the things, it's like, it's just this constant continual journey. And like, this is like when I talk about, like, I get giddy over shit like this. Cause it's like, how can you not be in awe of this, of how it's all working out? And like, not only are you entangled with all of these doctors and nurses and your daughter and myself and like the other people that are listening and all of the things, you're entangled with it all. And each one of those, like life is a gift received from Tao and everything is sustained in support of that gift. Like all of those things are being sustained in the support of your life. Now, it's all of this from my perspective is being sustained in the support of my life. But it's like, how wonderful. And the way that it just interweaves and becomes some beautiful experience for each and every one of us, if we can see it that way. If we can open ourselves to that experience.
Yeah,
I
cool.
get it's cool. So, do you have a number for today?
I don't know. Let me look. Let's say 38 is right in front of my face.
Right in
And
front
big
of your face.
red numbers. I think it's 38. My eyes are going. Go on, sorry.
So the dissolution of Tao. And, we talked earlier about 18, which was, what's the title? Out of touch with Tao. So that's when you're not in touch with Tao and not in touch with what it has to offer and all this. And the dissolution of Tao is a little bit different. It's about how Tao can dissolve over time in your life, because you're born in touch with everything, and then as you try and be as you are asked to live under the influence, you dissolve. It starts to dissolve in your life. So it says here, masters have nothing to prove, making their power self-evident. Others continually grasp at power, thus they never have enough. Masters needn't do a thing, and in so doing, nothing is disregarded. Others are constantly doing, leaving everything else still to be done. The kind man does, and in so doing reveals all that remains undone. The just man does, and in so doing reveals all that still needs to be done. The moral man does, and when there is no support, will use force to gain consensus. When Tao is lost, we lean on etiquette. When that fails, we turn to morality. When morality dissolves, we teach ritual. Those who have only known ritual are filled with shadow and ignorance. Therefore, the master concerns herself with the substance, not the shadow. She has no destination, only to reside within herself, not the manifestation. Everything
You read
that
this
we were
one
Go on,
yesterday.
please.
Did you read this yesterday?
I didn't, no. It's been a while since I've read this one.
Oh. This one isn't. Oh, you say what you're going to say first.
Well, I think that, like with what we were talking about with your daughter and you over this past 6-8 months, whatever it's been, I don't recall. But it's been you trusting that everything is going to get accomplished regardless. No matter what you do, it's going to, where it says, the master needn't do a thing, and in so doing, nothing is disregarded. And that's a journey that really it culminates to today. Where it's like all of these things were done. She hurt her ankle, and now she has to walk and go through this. She, all of the experiences that you've been through, everything that you kind of laid out was like you allowing those things to be and be like, we'll see, without having to be in control, without having to, get angry because, your daughter is not receiving something or that the insurance might not pay or whatever. It was all very much just you having to allow it to be what it is. And I feel like when we look at this last line, therefore the master concerns herself with the substance, not the shadow. The shadow is the fear of, maybe them not paying or her maybe not getting everything out of it. And I know that those conversations were there. I've heard them, but you didn't let yourself, submit to those, like you kept them in, it seemed to me at least, you kept them at arm's length so that you could be in a space where you could say, we'll see.
Yeah, and I worked hard on that. It took me a while,
and it shows. It showed, and I think that's a good thing.
It is. It's such a contrast to what it was the last time we went through this, and the needing, and the forcing and the resistance and everything. And everything was really hard. So hard. It was so difficult. Everything was. And It's amazing that this time it was easy. It was amazing how I made some of these flights, some of the times to get home or whatever. Right. Or, it's amazing that the insurance, what was I going to do? The insurance was like, yeah, we're not paying for the last week. And I was like, well, you can't take her out. She can't walk yet. Right. Those kinds of things. And it was, the answer was really right there. And I just chose not to get excited about it. And even picking her up, it was interesting because she was like, I don't think I want you to pick me up originally. I can walk, I can get out. And I said, okay, that's no problem. At first I was like, I'd like to be there if you'll allow me. And she's like, no, I don't want you there. And I was like, okay, no problem. Mm-hmm. And so, I went about my business, and there she goes, she sprains her ankle. And she's like, yeah, I'd really like it if you pick me up. So I didn't mean not to say that she had to sprain her ankle to do it, but I could have gotten upset with her, and I could have, 3 years ago, literally to the day, I think she's getting discharged on the same damn day too. She got admitted on the same day, and I think she's getting discharged on the same damn day. But either way, it's this idea of, last time it was very forceful, and it was very hard. Everything was so hard. And this time it wasn't so bad. It was easy.
Yeah, life is easy, hon. Jeez, this is such a beautiful experience. All all told. And as I look at this, masters have nothing to prove. When you did this last time, you had a lot to prove.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe she did too. And maybe she still has a lot to prove. That's on her. But as you go through your life, I hope that you'll find that there is nothing that you need to prove, because you are, like as we were talking with Paula, you are God. And whether or not the God word resonates or whatever, you are Tao. You are here, and you are being, you are part of something bigger. And you are, one time someone told me there's a leaf on the top of a tree somewhere, and nobody will ever pay it any mind. And yet, if it wasn't there, the entire world would be different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like us, like even if nobody knows what we've done or how we've done things, because sometimes we just quietly go about our business. We're changing things. Things are, and this is when it talks about, this is how we become immortal. It's by being in line with Tao, being in line with allowing things to be as they are and loving them as they are, without having to change for us.
Because you're perfect.
That's right. That's right. We're all just, and like I say, don't allow your definition of the word perfection to rob you of your perfection, to rob you of yours. And then that's such an important kind of understanding. Like if we can be in a place where we can just not define the word perfection before we accept the fact that we are.
And if we look at each other as perfect, then you don't have that same resistance to what is, you don't see all the other stuff, the story in front of it, because you know that the other person is perfect just the way they are.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing.
And if they're saying things to hide something, that's okay. That's perfect too. And you can just accept it for what it is. You just be like, oh, okay. I love you, and I'm going to, if they're like, I don't want you, because if you were, now this isn't something you would do, but if you were to, if your daughter were to say, no, I don't want you to come, and you were hurt by that, when she sprained her ankle, you say, oh, I thought you didn't want me to come, and, like you can be that bitch, like maybe not you, but like somebody could really use that bitch.
I was that bitch.
Right? It's just like, oh, I thought you didn't want me to come. Well, okay, I'll come, and then I'll make it a big deal, and then the flight's going to be bad for me because I'm being a bitch to, and it's just, it all, any violence rebounds upon itself, as the Tao says. And so, and that would be, that being a bitch is a violent act. So.
Well, thank you so much. And I just wanted to share this with you because we're at the we'll see for now.
We'll see.
And thank you for everything.
Tell Grace congratulations and have a great day.
I will. All right. Bye.
I really, I feel like I've been on this journey with your daughter for quite some time, with you and your daughter. So I want today to go well for her and for you. And I hope everybody is, I hope everybody receives today. This is a day of receptivity. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Once again, if you benefit from the work that I do here on Tao of the Day, please consider checking out my links and buying me a coffee, just contributing to my continuing to go after this. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Julie, Paula, JK, you guys are awesome. Love you all. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.